Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we'll be previewing the New York Jets going up against the Miami Dolphins. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving yesterday. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me along on social media at Matt O'Leary NY if you haven't already. You could also check out the podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and I wanted to talk to you about Thrive Fantasy Sports. Come hashtag prop up on Thrive Fantasy this season. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. They have eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top-tier athletes in a respective sport. Choose 10 of the 20 player prop options to build your lineup. Use promo code JETS20 when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Play Store or by visiting their website, thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and hashtag prop up today. So let's talk offenses. The New York Jets have the last ranked offense in the NFL, 32, while the Miami Dolphins have the 15th. So right around the middle of the pack. Yes, they transitioned from Ryan Fitzpatrick over to Tua Tagovailoa, but that hasn't been too much of a difference. They've still been really good as they're sitting at 6-4. Surprise, 6-4. No one really expected this from them. I thought maybe they'd win 6 games on the season, and they are very much in the mix for a wild card spot. Defensively, Jets are not good. 30th in the league. What a regression from Greg Williams, the tank god. Along with the Miami Dolphins taking a big step forward, they are 4th in the league in defense. It's not going to be an easy matchup for the New York Jets when you look at what their offense has done and why they struggled, going up against a defense that has played really good football, especially in the passing game. More on that later. So why do I like the Dolphins this week? They are off to a surprising 6-4 start. They were actually 6-3, and then they lost a surprising game against the Denver Broncos. Somehow they went on the road and lost to Denver, a team they probably should have beat. They are better on paper than the Denver Broncos. So this is going to be a motivated team coming to MetLife Stadium. Home field advantage doesn't really matter in this COVID world. So I think the Dolphins are going to be a hungry team coming off a game they should have won against a team with a depleted offense and a depleted defense and just not well coached at all. You look at Brian Flores, he's a great coach. Adam Gase and company, not so much. So as I mentioned, Tua's going to start. He was benched in the Denver game, but he is going to be the starter. And so far, he is 3-1 with a 61.9 completion percentage, 602 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for a 100.1 passer rating in games he started. He's averaged 148.3 yards per game, which isn't a lot. He only has one game over 200 passing yards, but he has taken some steps where you're like, okay, he looks all right. And eventually he's going to have to start moving the ball down the field. But against this New York Jets defense, I'm not exactly sure if that's going to matter a whole lot for them. He also has 15 rushes on the season for 34 yards. So what my prediction is going to be for Tua, I think he's going to go 18-25, 180 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I expect a pretty solid game for the rookie quarterback. I know he's not going to win Rookie of the Year. To me, that's Justin Herbert at this point. He's a lock, but I think he's going to have an okay game on the road against a divisional opponent, which would be a good sign if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. On the flip side, the New York Jets have their starting quarterback coming back. Sam Darnold will be back for his first game since they played against the Kansas City Chiefs. In 4 of his 6 starts this year, he's had under 200 passing yards. He hasn't thrown a touchdown since week 3. On the season, he has a 58.6 completion percentage, 3 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions for a 174.2 yards per game and a 65.9 rating. Ironically, 5 of those interceptions have come in 2 games. The other one came in week 1, and he's had a few games where he hasn't had any turnovers at all. So we're obviously hoping for more games like that from Sam Darnold. Is he going to be that much of a step back from what Joe Flacco's done at least the last couple of weeks? I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be that much of a difference, to be honest with you, which is probably an indictment on Darnold so far. What I am excited about is that he is going to play with all 3 wide receivers. Again, more on that in a little bit. But that's a positive going for Sam Darnold. And at least it's going to make this game a little bit more watchable, because how many times can we watch a 35-year-old Joe Flacco play football? I would rather see the young quarterback. Maybe he shows you something over the last couple of weeks. If the Jets were to steal a game, I'm not rooting for them to steal a game, but if they did it with Sam Darnold, it would at least make me feel a little bit better than a 35-year-old Frank Gore stealing a game, because that's not going to have any impact on this team going forward into next year. I'll say Darnold goes 20 of 34 for a 58.8 completion percentage, 214 yards, which is a 6.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in his return back to football. Again, the Dolphins have a pretty good pass defense. They have held starters to pretty low numbers. Last week, Drew Lock had like a 75 passer rating. Not that Drew Lock is really in a different boat than Sam Darnold. They're probably pretty similar, but when you look at this Dolphins defense, they are much better against the pass than they are against the run, so I don't expect Sam Darnold to put up massive numbers. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be a little bit better than what he was early on in the season because he's playing with better weapons, and the team overall has just looked more competent. Still not enough to win a game, but still a little bit more competent in the more recent weeks than they did earlier in the season when he was starting football games. There's no more LaMichael P. Ryan as he heads to IR, so this is going to be a heavy Frank Gore game. Unfortunately, I think he gets upwards of 15 rushes, which I don't love. I think Adam Gase is going to take it conservative, and Dowell Loggins will take it a little bit conservative and try to run the ball and not have Darnold do too much, especially early on as he's missed a few weeks. Get him easy and ease back into this thing. But like I mentioned just a minute ago, this is the first time that Sam Darnold is going to be with all 3 wide receivers. Denzel Mims has looked like he's gotten better week over week. Jamison Crowder has been solid in the slot all year. And on the outside, Perryman's actually showing signs of life. But Sam Darnold is not as good of a deep ball thrower as Joe Flacco, so maybe Perryman won't have the same kind of an impact that he's had in the offense the last couple of weeks because of who the starting quarterback is. Just something to keep in mind as we go forward here, but I think Mims has himself a pretty good game. I predicted him to score his first touchdown last week. Did not happen, but I am carrying that prediction over to this week because he had a really good game. 3 catches, 71 yards last week. I'm going to say 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown this week. I don't think any Jets receiver goes over 100 yards receiving, but I think Mims has the best receiving game out of anybody, puts up 75 yards and a touchdown, which is a great sign if you're the New York Jets. Prediction time so far, I am 9-1 on the season. I am picking the Dolphins to win 27-17. I also think they cover the 6.5 point spread. Like I said earlier, this is a really motivated football team that is playing for their playoff lives, and I think they're going to be hungry as they're coming on the road against a really beat-up team. They're 0-10. The Jets don't have a whole lot to play for. The Dolphins are much better coached than the Jets. All things are pointing to a Miami Dolphins bounce-back win. I really like them this week, and I think they cover, so I'm taking it 27-17. Let's take a look from Casey and see who she likes this week. Casey also likes the Dolphins. She is 5-5 on the season. So let's see if we move to what are we? It would be 10-1 and 6-5. Let's see if we move up to that. But that's going to do it for me on this episode. If you like what you saw, please make sure to subscribe. Get yourself some New York Jets content. I'm going to try to get more content hammered out throughout the rest of the season. We're doing this together, guys. Don't you worry. This is Jets therapy, as we're just talking out our problems as the Jets are likely on their way to an 0-16 season. It's been a whole lot of fun, but I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. I was feeling in a thankful mood, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you guys, so really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.